Have you ever wondered which interstellar human state or navy has the most ships, who's got more flying death bricks ready to vaporize planets and argue jurisdiction over nebulas? Well, you're in luck. We've compiled the ultimate roll call of the greatest, most absurdly oversized and overgunned and overglorified space navies ever imagined in science fiction. So buckle up, grab your star charts and prepare to warp into a hyperspace-sized breakdown of the most formidable human-led armadas in sci-fi, ranked by fleet size, which means number of ships. Let's begin! At the bottom we have the Colonial fleet from Battlestar Galactica. The Colonial fleet was basically the space navy for a group of human-inhabited planets called the 12 Colonies of Cobol. It was formed during a big war against deadly robots or artificial organisms known as the Cylons. Before that, each planet had its own military, but they all joined forces to fight these Cylons more effectively. After the war, the fleet stuck around to keep the peace and acted as a warning to the Cylons not to try anything again. At its strongest, this fleet had around 120 giant warships called the Battlestars, massive space carriers that could launch fighters and take beating in battle, and it could also fight back with massive firepower. Aside from that, this navy also consisted of hundreds of smaller escort, support and logistics ships. This fleet included a mix of Battlestar classes, with about 45 larger ones like the Mercury and the Jupiter class, and 75 smaller ones like the Valkyrie class. Anyway, heading over to number 9 we have the UNSC Navy from Halo. The UNSC Navy, or the United Nations Space Command Navy, is humanity's main space fighting force in the Halo universe. At its peak, the UNSC Navy had thousands of ships, everything from small patrol craft to enormous capital ships like frigates, destroyers, and a massive Marathon-class cruisers. Their biggest challenge was with the brutal war against the alien alliance called the Covenant, who had far superior technology, and despite being outgunned, the UNSC fought with strategy, with numbers, and with raw human stubbornness. Their ships weren't as advanced, but they were tough, heavily armed, and crewed by some of humanity's best soldiers, including the Spartans, the legendary Spartans. By the end of the war, and the start of the new conflicts with the Forerunners and the Banished, humanity had been rearming themselves with hundreds of new, more advanced ships. Now at number 8 we have Starfleet from Star Trek. So Starfleet is the spacefaring military, science and exploration organization in the Star Trek universe of humanity, and it is run by the United Federation of Planets, a peaceful union of different alien species working together, but with the main part being humanity. Anyway, Starfleet isn't just military, it is more like NASA, the Navy and a UN peacekeeping force rolled into one, with a strong focus on exploration, diplomacy and science. Their main mission? To explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, and to boldly go where no one has gone before. That means Starfleet ships are packed with scientists, diplomats, doctors and engineers, and not just soldiers. Their starships like the iconic USS Enterprise are advanced, they're fast and equipped with powerful shielding and weapons when needed. However, they do not mass-produce ships like the other sci-fi navies that we will get into later on. Starfleet Dynamics puts the maximum fleet size of Starfleet at 3,137, which means only 937 are major combatants, and the other 2,000 plus are escorts, logistics and support ships. Now next we come to the superluminal armada from Foundation. So coming from Isaac Asimov's Foundation books, the Galactic Empire was the superpower of the galaxy, ruling from the capital planet called Trantor. At its peak, it controlled about 8 trillion people and was led by a long line of emperors and empresses. By the time of the year 11,686 in their calendar, the empire was being ruled by a genetic dynasty, a bunch of clone emperors all based from one guy called Cleon I. At its peak, before Harry Seldon used a science called psychohistory to predict the empire's doom, they had a massive fleet of ships. This was called the Superluminal Armada, and it was this massive space navy of the Galactic Empire in the Foundation universe. It was made up of 3,200 ships in all kinds, from warships to cargo vessels, and every single one could travel faster than light. Now on the 6th spot we have the Systems Alliance Navy from Mass Effect. So the Systems Alliance was essentially a unified government and a military arm for Earth and all of humanity's space colonies within Citadel-controlled space in Mass Effect. Supported by the combined resources of Earth's most powerful nations, The Alliance acted as humanity's main force for exploration, diplomacy, economic development, and also defense. It represented all of humanity's interests on the interstellar stage and is the official voice of the human race in galactic politics. By the time of Mass Effect 3, humanity's military presence had grown significantly. The Alliance Navy fielded over 2,500 warships, backed by around 1,000 support ships of varying sizes, and an impressive force of 14,000 interstellar fighters. These forces are divided into 8 fleets, each with its own role and composition, including powerful dreadnoughts, versatile cruisers, agile frigates, and various logistical and support ships. Now on the 5th spot we have Earth and Mars's Navy in the Expanse. See, in the Expanse, the United Nations Navy and the Martian Congressional Republic Navy are the 2 largest and most powerful spacefaring militaries in the solar system. The UNN, or the United Nations Navy, is Earth's naval force, massive in scale, well-funded, and heavily reliant on sheer numbers and political reach, but its ships are often older and bulkier. In contrast, the MCRN, the Mars's Navy, represents the breakaway colony of Mars and is smaller but more technologically advanced, featuring cutting-edge warships with superior stealth, speed, and maneuverability. While Earth relies on brute force and logistical dominance, Mars prides itself on military precision and engineering excellence. So there is this one guy on YouTube called Surf Tectonics who have, in my opinion, way more knowledge about the Expanse and its ships than me, so I would point to him for expertise. And he goes on to say that the MCRN possesses around 630 vessels, and the UNN has 5 times, which means around 3,000, which puts the total number of human ships here to more than 3,600. So moving on to the 4th spot we have the Earth Alliance Navy from Babylon 5. Here in the Babylon 5 universe, the Earth Alliance stands as one of the major interstellar powers in the galaxy, and its military arm, the Earth Force Navy, commands a truly massive fleet. According to the novelization of In the Beginning, the Earth Alliance fleet numbered approximately 50,000 starships at its peak, making it one of the largest human spacefaring militaries in science fiction. This vast force included everything from patrol craft to heavy cruisers, destroyers, carriers, and orbital defense platforms. The Earth Force fleet served as both a defense force and a tool of expansion, protecting Earth's colonies and asserting the Alliance's political influence across space. Its starships, like the Omega-class destroyers, were large rotating gravity warships equipped with pulse cannons, missile batteries, and fighter bays. The scale of the fleet wasn't just about quantity, it also reflected Earth's growing ambition to compete with the ancient spacefaring civilizations that had long dominated the galaxy before humanity. Now we come to the top 3. We begin here with the Federation Navy from Starship Troopers. The Terran Federation space fleet of Starship Troopers serves as the aerospace and naval branch of the United Citizens Federation's military forces, overseeing all space-based operations, from interstellar defense to planetary bombardments and deep space patrols. Acting as humanity's primary shield and sword in the stars, the fleet operates a vast network of warships, carriers, transports, and defense stations. It is estimated that the Federation Navy possessed over 67,000 vessels by the time of the Relay 314 incident that happened in the year 2359 AD, including hundreds of battleships that was divided into 5 large-scale regional fleets, and all of them, or at least a significant majority, were redirected to face the Arachnids in the Bug Wars. Now on number 2 we have the Galactic Empire's Navy from Star Wars. This one, also known as the Imperial Starfleet, was the largest and most powerful spacefaring military force in the known galaxy at its height in the galaxy far, far away. Emerging from the ashes of the Galactic Republic during the rise of Emperor Palpatine, the Imperial Navy was designed to not just wage war, but to impose fear, control, and obedience across a galaxy of millions of star systems. In terms of scale, the fleet was staggering. Conservative estimates put the number of star destroyers alone at more than 25,000 during the reign of Emperor Palpatine. That doesn't really even count the countless smaller ships such as cruisers, corvettes, carriers, escorts, and over 1 million TIE fighters. See, the Navy also operated tens of thousands of capital ships, supported by an unthinkably vast logistical network of support vessels, of troop transports, supply convoys, and system patrols. Entire sectors were managed by sector groups, each composed of thousands of ships and responsible for controlling vast regions of space. At the top of the food chain were the superstar destroyers like the Executor, which dwarf regular capital ships like the Imperial class, and serve as the command hubs and symbols of Imperial domination. And then of course we must remember the Death Stars, in loving memory of course. And so before we go to number 1, which I suspect most of you know what it is, obviously, let's have a few notable mentions. We start with the human fleets from the ZD sequence. These were massive. They were responsible for attacking alien civilizations numbered in the thousands to millions, but since the exact number of ships were not given, or maybe we are just ignorant and waiting for someone in the comment section to point it out, we decided to put these here in the notable mentions list, along with the human space fleet that was sent to intercept the Trisolarian fleet in the 3 body problem stories. This human space fleet here numbered 1,000, but was destroyed by one teardrop weapon of the more advanced aliens from Proxima Centauri. And on the first spot we have the Navis Imperialis from 40k. The Navis Imperialis, or the Imperial Navy, is this vast spacefaring military force of the Imperium of Man in the grim dark galaxy. While the Space Marines are the elite genetically engineered shock troops, the Imperial Guard are the massive ground forces, the Imperial Navy is the sheer muscle and machinery that gets them across the stars. Its job is to wage interstellar war, transport ground troops, and maintain control over the Imperium's countless star systems. This navy is absolutely colossal, armed with ships that resemble flying Gothic cathedrals, bristling with weapons like macro cannons, lance batteries, torpedoes, and even planet-destroying weapons like the virus bombs. Each of the Imperium's vast territories, known as the segmentae in the galaxy, is divided into thousands and thousands of sectors, and here in this video we will assess all of this and get to the true size of the Navis Imperialis. See, every sector has its own battle fleet of around 45 to 75 capital ships, meaning destroyers, cruisers, and battleships. Now every sector here in 40k is 200 light years in every direction, which means if we're calculating for a relatively 2D plane for the galaxy, then the area of one sector would be 40,000 square light years. Now the Milky Way galaxy is 100,000 light years in diameter, which means adjusting for its spiral shape, it would have a total area of 7.85 billion square light years. Yeah, I did this by math and a calculator. So now we take this area of the galaxy, 7.85 billion square light years, and now we divide this by the size of each sector, which would give us the total number of sectors, and this comes to 196,250 sectors. However, to be fair, assuming that 50% of the sectors are either in Xenos areas and infestations, or controlled by chaos, or uncharted territories and independent systems, or just plain uninhabitable, we still have close to 100,000 sectors under the hands of the Imperium. Now remember that each sector has a battle fleet which consists of 50 or maybe 45 to 75 capital ships along with multiple squadrons of lesser escorts. Like for example, the subsector fleet of Armageddon had a ratio of 1:1 for capital ships and escorts. Therefore, we can safely say that each sector battle fleet composes of 100 to 150 ships in total, both large capital ones and their escorts and support ships. And thus, given the 100,000 sectors of human space covering a million worlds of the Imperium, we would therefore have between 10 to 15 million Imperial ships. And this is not including the Mechanicus fleet, the Space Marine strike fleets, the Inquisitorial ships, the Grand Solar Fleet, rogue traders, and commercial or civilian vessels. And that is the true size of the Navis Imperialis. Now those are the biggest human-controlled space navies in sci-fi, at least as far as I know. I know that some of you might know more, and do put them down in the comment section below. If you like this video, then check this other one too, the one on the end screens, and do hit the like button for support, and smash the subscribe button to be a part of Legio Nutbug. Till the next time, take care, boys.